For our consideration, we are in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 1, verses 27 and 28. A very familiar passage. And it reads as follows: For this child I prayed, and the Lord hath given me my petition, which I asked of him. Therefore also I have lent him to the Lord. As long as he liveth, he shall be lent to the Lord. And he worshiped the Lord there. I've entitled my short talk, What's Meant to Bless You, Blesses God. When what's meant to bless you, blesses God. We all know the scene, we know the scenario. Hannah is ridiculed by Peninnah, who is her counterpart. And the reason for this ridicule is because of her state of barrenness. She could not give birth to any children. So she gets ridiculed for this point. May I just say that there is nothing as more excruciating than being ridiculed with something that you cannot change. Thanksgiving, therefore, in the context of Hannah and her ridicule, and her later being given Samuel in her hands, gives us an indication and a clear indication or indicator that thanksgiving is not just an oral rendition, but an expression in form and substance. And that's why King Solomon says, honor the Lord with your substance, not with your possessions, but with your substance. What he's talking about is talking about a total summation of your being. Your attributes, your skills, your talents, your acquisitions, your assets. Indeed, your asset register, your influence, your possessions, and your all. And that's why then he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. Problem with stewards today and their faithfulness is the disconnect, the discord, and the dissonance between themselves and their possessions. And when there is that discord and dissonance between ourselves and our possessions, there is a problem, because thanksgiving cannot be given its true primacy. The second point I want to share with you this morning is greatest form of thanksgiving is when what we seek is not for self-aggrandizement, but a conduit and a channel for the glory of God. When she had obtained the son, she never went around boasting or even went to Peninnah to say, la, 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 la. You were ridiculing me for my situation, but look what I got. The greatest form of thanksgiving is when what we seek is not for self-aggrandizement, but a conduit and a channel for the glory of God. When what's meant to bless you blesses God. Don't know why you prayed for that car. I don't know why you paid for that job. Don't know why you prayed for that promotion, for that performance bonus. I don't know why you prayed for that escalation, that elevation, and everything. I don't know why you prayed for it. And when God has granted it and has given it to you, the question is it a channel or is it for self-aggrandizement? If it was for your status, your name, your fame, your assets and your asset register, maybe thanking God for it won't be enough. What will be enough is when what you have gotten turns into a tool for transformation of your surroundings. So what we have been blessed with needs to turn and to be a transformative agent for our surroundings. So when God has blessed us, our surroundings can never remain the same. And that is the key problem, and that's the key issue for stewardship. And so she brings the child to the temple, gives him away. Take note, this was permanent. Now, in verse number 8, she says, lent. Lent, as if this was a temporary endeavor. Because lending, obviously, you know, there is an expectation of return. But this was permanent. And that we see in the second phrase of the text when it says, for as long as she lives, she will serve the Lord. So it's given to the Lord rather permanently. She brings this child to the temple even though she had requested for the child for herself. And let me tell you something, when you read that whole story, you find that at the end of it all, Hannah, who had been barren, is actually not blessed just with one child, but is blessed with 3 sons and 2 daughters. Hallelujah. Because when that which is meant to bless us blesses God, God multiplies. When that which is meant to come and elevate us and elevates God in the process, that God will surely multiply. She brings the child to the temple and gives him away. Take note, it's a permanent giving away. As long as he lives, the highest form of thanksgiving is when what we have sought becomes less important than the one who gave it. So we're able to give it away because what we've got does not become bigger than the giver. And that's why Isaac does not become bigger than a God who opens barren wombs post-menopause. That's why it can be sacrificed if needed. That's why the widow's last penny does not become bigger than God's ability to provide. That's why it can be given away. And God says, well, of everyone, this woman has given more than everyone. Because they gave out of the abundance of their blessings, but she has given out of the abundance of nothingness. The last flour and oil does not become bigger than God. That's why it can be offered to the prophet first and watch God multiply it until the drought is over. So we're here for Thanksgiving. It must be bigger than you, and it must be bigger than your circumstances. And if that which I give does not yield to something bigger than me, I have not started giving. And so Hannah gives the child away without a promise that another one would come. And that's the essence and the depth of the giving.